the project is really to pump water from the lake into a holding reservoir in order to pump it into a water treatment plant. When treated and safe, pumped to Lilongwe for consumption.
There are reservations, critics regarding the project. Three front. Number one, issue of the work itself, the duration. People say you do not have capacity to do the work. That's the number one area.
Who says I don't have capacity when the client has declared us well capacitated? Who says that?
Do you have capacity, and maybe in regard to the capacity aspect, you give us an assurance? What basis, what gives you the confidence that maybe you have?
We have the technical know-how. We have the best engineers the world has in our company. We have the best equipment as a company. There is no equipment. There is no company in South Africa, the ones you know, Group 5, they have competed with us. We've beaten them at their game square in this country. Basil Reed, we've done projects together in Limpopo where their projects have had problems and we don't have. Group 5 in Hammanskraal, north of Pretoria, we have found them, left them there. I have never failed in a single project. My equipment is world class. The best equipment for the job. That's what I do.
Getting a little backward, the bidding process itself.
Yes.
Maybe hence there have been questions because I think there was no clear indication back home regarding the bidding process. How did you strike the deal?
There is a clear indication according to what we know because this was a closed tender process. A closed tender process is very legitimate and legal. You have open tender, you have closed tender. So they chose closed tender because they knew which companies could do the job. So they wanted to find price, competence on methodology, and in terms of their scope layout. So they laid out a scope to say, this is what we expect you to do. We responded to the scope. The issue of power, we've covered that in our submission. The issue of ability to pump the water up 800 meters high, we've covered that in our submission. And I cannot respond to newspaper insinuations and innuendos. Most of these people, I hear there's a professor that is at it, and this guy has never even tried to go to Lilongwe Water Board and say, what was your scope? And what was the response? Because if he looks at the scope that Lilongwe Water Board gave to the 7 companies that were invited to bid, then he would be in a position to say, oh, this is what you said you wanted, but this is what Khato replied in their bid. This is short. He didn't go there. I don't think for a moment, and I think I've never heard Lilongwe Water Board replying to his utterances in the papers, because in engineering you don't do things like that. You write to your peers.
Getting to the how part, probably that's one reason there is controversy regarding the project itself.
Yeah.
24 months, that's the target.
Yeah.
And further than that, we have issues of energy wars as we're speaking now back home. I think that's some of the areas that people are more concerned about.
This is again, that's the thing. Have they read the scope? The scope really does ask us to say, how will you energize the pumps, the pump stations? How will we? So we have answered. There's going to be wind, there's going to be solar, then there will be diesel, then the grid. The grid is out. These 2 or 3 will do. So we already have a plan, and we have submitted to Lilongwe Water Board. Lilongwe Water Board is fully aware of what we intend to do, and they're satisfied that what we intend to do is what they want to be done.
You're not banking on ESCOM as a source of power?
Not at all, we're not. If ESCOM doesn't have power as it is, we know that, and we have already plans for that. It's in the bid document.
Getting on the issue of machinery, I mean, that project, $500 million worth a project, is so huge, a project, within 24 months. The question is, what kind of machinery are you using? How would you make sure that, as you've already said on record, that 16 months you'll be done? How?
You know, experience is the best teacher. That's why if somebody is a professor or what and has never practiced, he's a no entity to me. He has never seen things. I have mobilized at a great short time and gotten things done. I mean, mobilization and site establishment is, we know how we get these things done. The most important thing is the best machines for the job. So we have trenches that will trench within 3.5 months to 4 months between Lilongwe and Salima. Rock hard, we will cut that through and done. Now we have to import ductile steel pipes that don't need any welding, because welding takes a lot of time and you need a lot of teams, and welding is not uniform, and sometimes the welder is in good mood, he welds well. When he wakes up bad, it welds bad, and the result will be seen when we do the testing. So we don't want that. We've chosen to bring ductile pipes that will be simply screwed in and put at 2 meters deep in the trench, and water should be able to flow with ease. The pump stations, we've put 3 pump stations, 2.5 megawatt pump stations, and we're going to energize them very well. That professor will come and see for himself, and I don't know what he will do. I'm sure he'll come and give me 5 cows, if he has any at all. But we will get the water from Salima to Lilongwe in that period that we have agreed with the client.
Finally, looking at you as a character, reports have been there regarding you supporting or sponsoring some political parties back home. Question number 1, are you harboring any political idea back home?
We have supported political parties here in South Africa, but I don't harbor any political ambitions whatsoever. People ask you, you are working in an environment. Let me tell you, you cannot do a project in an environment without knowing, 1, the technocrats, the politicians, the community. This is we call it stakeholders. Now, stakeholders are in different layers, from politics to technical guys to administrators and to councillors, for that matter. You have to engage. Now, when you engage, people then come and say to you, oh, by the way, you came, I would go to them and say, I have this problem, help me. When they help you, they come back tomorrow and say, oh yeah, your problem solved? Yes, sir. Oh, look, we have an election. We just need some money to pay for our combis as we go for the elections. You give them the money. I don't think that should be a wrong thing to do. And if that should be, then I should cease to live as a human being, because these are people you are interacting with, they need help, you help them. The elections in America, Donald Trump has been saying, I have money, but we know he has been sponsored. Hillary Clinton, she has been sponsored. Those who are sponsoring her, they don't harbor political ambitions. They simply have the ability to help somebody that needs help. And I have given help. I've given help to Malawi Congress Party. I've given help to DPP. When they ask, I don't take money on my shoulders and say, hey, here I come, I've got money. I would never do a thing of that sort in my life. I always help when I'm asked. In Botswana, when I'm asked, I help as well. I don't have any ambitions to be president or minister whatsoever. The people that are presidents and ministers are good enough for me. The only thing is, we need to simply do things differently.
Reports were rife that you, Mr. Simbi Phiri, was found with millions of dollars in your boat in Botswana. How far true is this?
Very wrong. It's a lie. It's insinuations and innuendos. You know, my mother comes from Botswana. And I've been in Botswana for a long, long time. I have a dollar account in Botswana, a euro account in Botswana. It's allowed in the law there. And I have put this money over a long period of time. We had a tender last year of 6.5 billion pula in May, June of 2016. And they asked for people to put up guarantees. I think it was $1 million. We put that $1 million. Within 30 days of that, they started saying they're investigating my monies in Botswana. For me, I characterize this investigation as 10 hours. There's never been money found in my car or in my boat at any point in my trips to Botswana. By the way, if money is found in the boat at the border, what happens? They confiscate the money. They are not talking about confiscation. They are talking about freezing the money. You freeze money that's in the account. The money is in the account. It's not even the amount they are mentioning, $8.8 million. No, not at all. Have the equivalent of about 25 million rands is what is in the account in Botswana. And the authorities have thought that the authorities, I mean those section of authority, not all, have sought to darken our name because we are in the forefront to being appointed for the water project in there. So the only way they can discard us is to bring dispute that we are dealing illegally in bringing money into Botswana. I've never brought money illegal in Botswana. The fact the money came in cash, the money was properly obtained from the banks here in South Africa. The money is not from proceeds of crime. It is proceeds of works, proceeds of business. And we pay our taxes in South Africa. I applied to the Bureau de Change. The money, the Bureau de Change in turn applies to the Reserve Bank. This information is in the system. They have come from Botswana to check, they found it, but they can't say yes, it's okay, because it doesn't serve the purpose of their investigation. The purpose of the investigation is to darken Khato Civils, so Khato Civils does not get appointed for the Palapi-Gaborone pipeline. That is the point. So at the end of the day, people are putting insinuations and lies and all that in order to achieve the darkening, to edge us out of the competition. This is the reality. I was in Botswana just 5 days ago. Last week, the court there threw out the case. The case has been thrown out all the 4 times. Even the fourth time when the appeals court said, okay, if you insist on investigating, investigate, but you can't stop him from using his account. But otherwise, the 3 judgments have outrightly dismissed the case. But the fourth one said, look, all right, if you have any reasonable suspicion, investigate, but within reasonable time. But again, you can't freeze the money as you wish. No, let the company use the money as they need it per month, but negotiate between the 2 of you. They have refused that. The issue is not justice or criminality, it's tender wars. That's it.